himself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So Nuhoff in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down in towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's allowed to have fun. Yeah, it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching. The Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there as they're really bunching up now.
it! Medeiros is going to get it! Medeiros is going to get it! Haven't got it!
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such trouble. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it! Big Barry!
Welcome along to the Okayama Prefecture in Japan, more specifically Mimisaka, for round 3 of the Sim Racing Collective F4 Sprint season. We've hit the halfway point of the season, and another 2 races tonight will get us to that point, and then we'll have 3 more rounds to go. My name's Alex Goldschmidt. Joining me in a short while will be Mr. Dean Biggles. But first things, folks, we need to update you about the current championship standings. Now, after 2 impactful races at Summit Point last week, Kieran Sharp has a slender lead of 18 points ahead of Tom Davidson. Luciano Vivoit missing in action last week, but now back and looking for blood in the water. Jamie Nuttall and Brad Horsnell round out the top 5 in the championship standings ahead of Gurgley Kunsavo, Liam Giles, Jack Southfield, Matt Acton, and Andrew Pike rounding out the top 10. Luxembourg's Guillaume Hamling 11th ahead of Roy Weller, with Pedro Silva from Portugal, Fabian Biavert and Freddie Coleman completing the top 15, with the latter 2 equal on 64 points apiece. And there you see the rest of the championship standings, the likes of Thomas Martin, Johnny Wu, Josh Millington, Marcus Miller completing the top 20 with Stefan Hutter, Tobias Heiter, Clement Bibliok, Cody Cosford, Gareth Ronda, Pavel Bogdan, and quite a few other drivers there too. Of course, we're broadcasting live on the JP Broadcasting Network. And let's bring my partner in crime into the booth. Good evening, Dean Biggles. How are you, buddy?
Fantastic. Thank you very much, partner in crime. I love it. Yes. We are going to get up to all sorts of mischief by bringing you this fantastic round 3 here this evening for the F4 Sprint Racing. We need to go over those formats, of course. So they're going to do a little bit of a short 10-minute qualifying at the moment. That drivers are, some of them out on track, of course. Get out there, get that time under your belt. Don't be wasting it. You know, supposed to be getting it done. I'm going to love these cameras here, my friend, because a lot of them are behind buildings. It's going to be fun. But at the moment, we haven't got any times on the timesheet set just yet. Because look at the crazy liveries as well, too, for some of these drivers.
Yeah, very much the case. There's Jamie Nuttall in the number 14 Cracked Racing entry. He was definitely at the sharp end of things last time out at Summit Point. Of course, this particular circuit, the original host of the Pacific Grand Prix in 1995 and 1996, originally known as TI Circuit AIDA, from when it opened back on the 18th of November 1990 up until its renaming to the current variation of the Okayama International Circuit back in April of 2005. But one thing is very much assured here at the Okayama circuit. It has also been, on the virtual side of things, the host of the Rotax Sim Racing Challenge through the COVID-19 pandemic, which I happen to be part of the commentary team for, but a lot of undulation, a lot of elevation changes. The circuit itself, in length, measures just exactly 2.3 miles. In real life, F4 lap record set back in Japanese F4 in 2017 of a 132.202 by Rutomo Miyata. But of course, the format, we've got a solo 10-minute qualifying session for the drivers. Then we'll have a 15-minute sprint. We'll have a 5-minute warm-up and then the 25-minute feature race a little bit later on. We have now got 3 different winners from 4 different races. Kieran Sharp, who we both spoke to before the broadcast got underway, Dean, says, well, yeah, my championship lead, I'm not going to hang on to that for that much longer, considering the fact that we've got 2 new winners in the form of the 86 of Josh Millington and the 98 of Jack Southfield. This circuit here at Okayama is really very demanding, as we can see with Kieran Sharp. I mean, he's just gone through the Atwood curve, named after Richard Atwood. And then you know, there's so much change in elevation, camber. You're switching from left to right. There are going to be some overtaking opportunities, like here into hairpin corner before they head into the double left at Revolver and Piper. It is really a circuit you've got to be very careful at.
Yeah, well, yeah, but like most, but of course, here it is. We're actually right on board. I was going to see if you're going to give us a hot lap of Karen. You might have to wait for another one because he's only got a few more turns. Look at those time differences between the top three. 9 1,000ths of a second and 77 1,000ths of a second off there. This is going to be very, very close. But so far, so good. I'd have to say, our Dutch driver at the moment here should be improving. Doesn't look like Karen Sharp's going to be improving too much more. As across the line, there it is. Bingo. What's that? 128, and that's at 150. That's 110 up on that at the moment. But yeah, if you want to give us a hot lap, perhaps, I don't know. There, from your perspective, from this man taking another lap around.
Yeah, well, let's go on board with Luciano Vitvoet. He's going through the Moss S's. There's going to be hard on the brakes into the Atwood curve. There's going to be some camber to the right-hand side. Then you've got the elevation going up the hill. And then we go on to, apart from the start-finish straight, one of the longest parts where you are literally flat out all the way through. He's going to brake 200 kilometers an hour in fifth gear. Nearly touched the left wheels on the grass. Hard on the brakes. Down to second. Around about 50 miles an hour. Then put the power down. Then it's the double left here at Revolver and Piper. You've got to really watch that inside curbing and don't run the car too wide. Neatly negotiated there by Luciano Vitvoet. So he's now going to go into Redmond corner, named after Brian Redmond. So plenty of motorsport history being honoured in the right way. Through Hobbs corner, then over the elevation change, a bit of a blind crest as you head down towards Mike Knight corner, which is the penultimate turn. Then through last corner, and there's pretty much 90% of a hot lap there with Luciano Vitvoet, who on that particular occasion did a personal best in sector number 4. And Thomas Helmer, we always know, is supporting the man who is now reverted his racing name on the server to David Barnes. He was DQ Dave last time out at Summit Point, and the evening didn't go too well for the number 27 from the UK. But Luciano Vitvoet, with just under 3.5 minutes still to go, has extended his lead. He's just put in a 128.297. Jamie Nuttall second, 0.23 behind, ahead of Kieran Sharp, Josh Mellington and Tom Davidson in fifth. They're covered by 0.36 of a second. Fabian Biervert is literally 3 1,000ths off. He's running the number 83 Ayrton Senna McLaren MP44 tribute band, and there it is, heading through Revolver and now into Piper. Great to see that even with the fact that we've only got 21 drivers here, Dean, Okayama does promote a lot of pack racing, and last week at Summit Point there was definitely some close call moments and definitely some code browns, let's say.
Yeah, we're going to find out about if that's going to be happening because they're down to the dying stages of the qualifying. I do apologise, we didn't have any of the audio from the cars at the start of that one, but we got it fixed right now. As I don't know where this camera is. This is completely behind the pit straight building and it's absolutely horrible.
Actually, right.
Is it?
We have actually got a qualifying ban for Freddie Coleman Evans. So he will be starting race 1 from the back of the grid. So we will have 22 cars. Well, he should have a he should have a qualifying ban, but he is actually out on circuit. So I think it might be the fact that they've banned him. He's probably been able to go out anyway on the server, but it will drop to the tail end of the field. But Luciano Vitvoet at the moment, still looking very, very good. Jamie Nuttall, with just under 1 minute and 3/4 left to go, has gone into the pit. So is Kieran Sharp, who will start on the outside of row 2. Guillaume Hamling all the way down in 12th. And pretty even spread as Matt Acton goes up to P9. His best effort at 1 minute 29.130. So the track's starting to come to the drivers in the latter stages of this open qualifying, Dean. But again, it is just trying to make the best of whatever situation you're dealt and how your car's handling.
Yes, well, exactly right. Just bear with me for 1 second, my dear friend. I've got something in the technical in the background to deal with.
Yeah, so, that was a bit of a spin there for Thomas Martin in the number 13, running the older Camel Honda yellow and blue livery back in the day when Senna was actually with Lotus, and that was after the John Player Special variety. We're on board now with Fabian Bierwert, who's currently running P5, and then we go to Bradley Horsnell in the number 58. Again, some very interesting liveries. Andrew Pike goes up to 9th, dropping Matt Acton to the bottom of the top 10. We're coming down to the final 30 seconds of this open qualifying, and pretty much well over half the field have gone into pit lane. As I say that, Bradley Horsnell jumps up to 12th on that one. 1 minute 29.355. Timer is ticking away very, very nicely indeed. And Thomas Helmer, you're occupying the chat in the TSRC broadcast. So we are multi-streaming, restreaming on multiple different platforms on the YouTube side of things. But that is the conclusion of qualifying, and Luciano Vitvoet takes pole position. Here's your starting grid. It's going to be Vitvoet versus Millington on the front row, Nuttall and Sharp on row 2, Bierwert and Davidson row 3, Bobby Moss and Jack Southfield round out row 4, with Andy Pike and Matt Acton completing the top 10. Stefan Hutter and Bradley Horsnell ran out row 6, with Guillaume Hamling and David Long on row 7. Row 8, it's Matt Smith and Johnny Wu, with Fred Coleman-Evans, Cody Cosford, Thomas Martin, David Barnes, and Gareth Ronda. So that's going to be 21 cars on the grid. Of course, it's a 15-minute sprint race. And at this particular moment in time, the drivers have already got an understanding of the circuit here. And it's all going to come to that run through into first corner. Then you've got the negotiation through the left-hand sweeper at Williams. But, Dean, they're starting to grid up now. We're getting ready to let them fly around this 2.3-mile circuit. It's going to be something to be salivating about, so to speak.
You want to bring it home. You want to bring it home. So, but the drivers want to seize opportunities immediately, don't they? They want to go for glory early and spin off there and lose a ton. But, you know, you also have to see if Gap Car, right? As you said, Ayrton Senna with that livery, of course, with McLaren.
So we are just waiting for the 5 red lights here at the Okayama International Circuit to show up on the screen here for race 1 of round 3. We're going to be starting our way very shortly as Luciano Vitvoet readies up on the grid. Here we go. Race 1 about to be under starters' orders. The 5 red lights are on and they are out. Bit of wheel spin from Fabian Bierwert on the outside of row number 3 as they head into turn 1. Vitvoet has just let Millington through and tries to go and throw the Hail Mary through the first corner. Now into Williams. Everyone trying to juxtapose for position. Nuttall looking up the inside of Sharp, going through into the Moss S's. Pike and Acton trying to go door to door, so to speak, as Millington retakes the lead. Sharp up the inside of Nuttall to take P3 through the Atwood curve. And now they go up the elevation change onto the back stretch. They're going to be approaching speeds north of 200 kilometers an hour in 5th gear. But Millington and Vitvoet are nigh on inseparable, as Millington will have the inside line into hairpin corner, and he locks up the brakes on the right front. That could give Vitvoet the opportunity to get through at Revolver, and he does so to retake the race lead. Nuttall has gone through on Sharp through Revolver as they head through Piper. Very, very clean exchanges so far, as Davidson ahead of Bierwert in the battle for 5th, but they've got Southfield, Moss, and Sharp intake of breath there for Dean. What did you catch your eyes on, buddy?
Oh, you just saw at the back there a bit of a lock-up. They almost slid into the back there. As you're seeing that battle at the moment for Tom's game 1 position there. And Fabian, and there is Fabian, of course, who's sitting in the old school McLaren livery for the number 83 machine, but still no changes at the top of the timesheets just yet. Well, the top of the timesheets, but Andrew Pike's thinking about something here at the moment. Oh, there's somebody off. That's
a
Gareth.
big one off. That's Gareth Ronda. And that's not exactly the way you want to start the race. Well, he started stone dead last, and he remains stone dead last. A considerable amount away from David Barnes, DQ Dave in the 27. Andrew Pike trying to go toe-to-toe with Matt Acton, and they clash sidewalls ever so slightly as they head through the Moss S's. 2 minutes out of 15 completed, and that is Pike through on Acton. Moss in the meantime. Oh, right, who's dropped it?
Jake.
Beervert's dropped down the order, and also, yeah, Jack Southfield.
Jack.
Oh, that's a big old surprise. One of our earlier race winners has tumbled all the way down to 20th. So that is not exactly how you want to start lap 2. But some good exchanges so far, Dean. But we have had a bit of a lock-up. I think that might have been Horsnell, because Hutter has just got through on him. That's a great dive bomb up the inside through Revolver. And then he's trying to go... Horsnell just had serious cojones right there going through Piper to try and get through on Stefan Hutter. But Hutter was having absolutely none of it. And again, Horsnell just trying to do his level best to keep in front. This is not going to go very, very well. That's actually David Long that was trying to send it, and he's going to get the job done through Mike Knight corner, unless Stefan Hutter has the cojones to keep it pinned around the outside through the final turn, which he is trying to attempt, but he's going to have to slot in behind as Vit Voet is starting to pull away from Millington to the tune of about half a second. It's nearly 4 wide down the start-finish straight.
It is almost. So you said there's a little bit of a lock-up because you want to go in there as late as possible into the apex, knowing there's 3 cars essentially behind you. Look at the lift off there from who was that? I can't even see specifically, but yeah.
Well, Hutter's just lost out. Yeah, Hutter's just lost out to Guillaume Hamling, who's moved up from 13th to 11th. Hutter still trying to force the issue and was unable to do so through the Atwood curve. But Matt Acton up 2 places now to 8th and is again challenging Andrew Pike into hairpin corner, and that's a nice little neat move. Pike gave him plenty of room, but Will, the number 57, decides to go on the counter offensive. He wasn't even close going through into Revolver, but we got Cody Cosford, Fabian Beervert, Fred Coleman-Evans, Stefan Hutter, all in this train. It's like Jarno Trulli at Toyota all over again.
Don't talk to James about Trulli. in Brazil.
No, we're not even going to go on that one. But
Yeah.
Cody Cosford has made good progress. He's up from 18th on the grid. He's currently P13 and trying to close in on Stefan Hutter. So that could be a very, very good, interesting development there. New fastest lap by Kieran Sharp, 1 minute 28.187. And there's not that much to talk about. Well, there's not much in terms of space between Vit Voet, Millington, Nuttall and Sharp. They are covered by less than 1.2 seconds. There's again Guillaume Hamling trying to close in on David Long for 10th place. So the Luxembourger. So we're going to have a look here. Now this is Fred Coleman-Evans. Now down the start-finish straight into the first corner.
He's lost it on his own. Just on the exit of the apex, wasn't it? And then he's luckily very stays there. Good on you, Fred. It's frustrating to see those cars scoot by, but what you've done, of course, is you haven't interfered with their race, and then let to see another day. Battle at the moment here. A little bit of a lock-up. There's David, and there's Hamling.
Yep. I think
there's flashing from David. That's when you see that camera just can't catch the car. That's because the slight little pause in the internet connection between him and iRacing.
Yeah, that does happen from time to time. I did actually, I have to give a shout out to one of our fellow commentators here on JP Broadcasting, Dan Pepples. I was actually, went and visited him at his house just yesterday and managed to actually have a little go on an F4. And I was really, really surprised with how much that you don't, in certain circuits. I should have practiced Okayama, to be honest, to get a real understanding. We're going to go with Matt Smith now on a replay. So this would be, I think, he's
good here, Ferrari. Oh, there's another big accident. Big accident right here.
Oh, Cody. No. That's Cody Cosford and Stefan Hutter. They've come together and Cosford's put it into the pit lane.
Yep.
Well, Cody's just lit up the rear tyres. Stefan Hutter's returned to garage. So this is down the start-finish straight in towards first corner. And
A snap of oversteer, and he's lost the rear, and then bingo's nowhere else, is it, for them to go?
Yeah, Cody's just T-boned it because, yeah, like you said, I think Stefan Hutter was just a bit too eager on the loud pedal on the right-hand side of his sim rig, and then that was all she wrote, so to speak. And that can happen. I experienced that quite a few times when I was getting to grips. And if people are wondering, where did I drive the Formula 4 car? I drove it at Silverstone, the home of British Motorsport. Just had to. But Millington closing in on Vic Voigt for the race lead. We are fast approaching half-time in this 15-minute race. And this is a really, really good battle between these two. They're coming out of the final corner, down the start-finish straight. So now, effectively, this is 50% of the timer completed. Millington trying to close in on Vic Voigt under braking, nearly gets up the back of the rear wing of the number 60, who still continues to lead and has led every single lap so far in this race. Kieran Sharp is about 1.6 seconds behind him, but he's being closed in on by Jamie Nuttall in the Cracked Racing number 14 in the battle for the final step of the virtual rostrum. Then it's Davidson, Moss, Acton, Pike, Horsdall and Long, as Vic Voigt is really having to keep his wits about him because Millington is waiting to strike.
And is the strike about to be now, do you think? No, not just yet. But he's setting the dummy at the moment there. He's up. He's starting to lay his cards down on the table, my friend. And you know what happens? I'm going to call it to the river being the, let's say, in this example, 15 minutes. Well, practically about 7 and change from now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, indeed. So Millington closing in on Vic Voigt. They have literally been inseparable so far. We are on lap 6 of this race, so still plenty of dramas that could happen. Stefan Hutter is out of pit lane, so he returns to garage. We're going to see a replay.
Yes, same one.
Yeah, it's the same one. So Cody, yeah. As I said, it was a case of with these Formula 4 cars, and I learned that last night, was the fact that sometimes don't try and brake too excessively hard through a particular corner because you can over rotate. As I think someone has got that. Well, someone's got a slow down, and that's the driver on the outside, I think. I was trying to catch the number there. I think that might have been David Long. David Long, I think, got a slowdown penalty because everyone went past him like he was standing still. Oh, dearie me. It's getting a bit too close for comfort because Long and Beervert are side by side, and Beervert has nosed ahead ever so slightly. Hamling and Johnny Wu are battling tooth and nail. Hamling's through on Long. Beervert through on Long. Hamling loses out to Johnny Wu in the number 19 for 11th position. As we've got just over 5 minutes to go in this race. Guillaume Hamling into hairpin corner. Looks through as all. That was a bit of a lock up there from David Long as he tried to get through on Fabian Beervert. But that just goes to show how hard these drivers are pushing. And now Beervert swarming all over the back of the Michael Schumacher Benetton tribute band in the number 19 car. And this is going to get very, very close indeed through Redmond Corner.
Was that powered by Renault? Didn't know that one, but yes, anyway.
Yes, back in those days it was powered. Yeah, Benetton team was powered by Renault, who I think a couple of seasons later rebadged the engines to become Mechachrome, if I remember correctly. So, but this has been quite interesting anyway. I've been keeping an eye on the lap times between Vic Voigt and Millington, and Millington is about 1/10 of a second quicker. As there goes David Long up the inside again on Fabian Beervert and gets through, does he? No, Beervert's going to have the inside line for the next corner. Judges it very, very nicely. They nearly interlock wheels there. And Beervert still keeps the inside line through the Moss S's, but they're going to head towards Atwood Curve. And I don't think he will have the opportunity. Now, can Millington get the draft he needs very shortly when they come down the start-finish straight? Because 11 minutes and 20 of the 15 minutes have been completed. It's got to be, Millington's just got to absolutely send it at one point where he knows that Vit Voet might leave the door open. But I know Vit Voet's going to not let him do that.
Yeah, when you're this close at the moment to a race win, you do take a little bit more risks than what you do rather than settling in P2, unless, of course, you could be wrapping up that championship and you're like, I'll take it. Of course, the P2 will work, but try to get a driver not to do anything for a possible race win right now with about 4 minutes and change to go. It's going to be up to these two top guns, and then you've got a bit further battle. You've got to remember, too, you got the boss man, Kieran Sharp, that's also hunting down that P3 position just in your background, but he's a little bit too far back. Let's see whether or not Josh can do anything about our super fast, what is he called, the Dutch...
The Flying Dutch.
Flying Dutchman, there it is. Thank you.
No problem at all, buddy. You're more than welcome. Yeah, this is going to be a bit too close to call because we're now on to lap 9. We're 40% of the way of our way through this lap with our race leaders. So we are probably going to be looking after this one 2 to go. As Millington again through into hairpin curve. Doesn't manage to get the opportunity of a switchback on Vit Voet. So Vit Voet placing the car exactly where he needs to. He's entitled to do that because he is the car in front. And he's making a pretty good job of it as they are now making their way in towards Redmond. And then up the slight incline through into the right-hander here at Hobbs. And then it's Mike Knight coming up next. And then they really can carry the momentum through slight downhill slants into the right-hander at last corner and across the line. So this will be the penultimate lap of this race. They come across the line now with just over a minute and a half to go, and they have been running quite consistently in the 1:28.5s. Kieran Sharp still has the fastest lap of the race with the 1:28.187. But Millington is fast running out of real estate here, Dean, because he's got to try and risk it for the biscuit a little bit, I think.
Yeah, you always got to risk it for the biscuit, my friend. It's a biscuit. You've got to give it everything. They are catching, well, I don't think they'll catch the lap traffic down the road. He's blinking too. And that's not always it. There's your lap traffic, but I don't think that's going to come into play just yet. That is Stephen, I think. Yeah. Don't think they'll catch him in time. Stephen did lock up, but you're also going to be very, very cautious, isn't it? Because you know that the cars that further up the road there have been struggling on this track. So if they make a mistake, you might be at the wrong place at the wrong time, and that's game over.
Yeah. So we are coming up to 35 seconds of the race remaining. And we may get Barney, the flag marshal, on the start-finish straight, feverishly waving the white flag as they make their way out of Hobbs. Now this is going to be very, very tight indeed as to whether we may get another lap or could we get the checkered. Out of the final corner they go. And
there's Barney.
Yeah, Barney has got the white flag waving, so 2.3 miles to decide whether Luciano Vit Voet could pick up his first win of this season, or could it be another one for Josh Millington in the number 86. Now, Josh, last time out, was the race 1 winner through the Mossesses for the final time. Southfield has recovered up to 9th place now, having started 8th. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of drivers improve with their fastest laps towards the end of this race here, but Millington has got not much of the back straights. Oh my goodness me. Millington was trying the old Nigel Mansell dummy on Vit Voet, trying to sort of pressure him into an unforced error, but it didn't work. And now they're going through Revolver, down into Piper for the final time here on lap 11. Millington will be very, very happy with this because of the fact it gives him another podium. As he's going for it.
Contact.
Always the slight touch, and that was going through Redmond. He's going to try everything in his power over the next 3 corners to try and get through, but Vit Voet might get away from him on the line. This could be a drag race to the finish. Out of the final corner, it's the run to the line that's going to decide race 1 of round 3. Checkered flag will wave this time. Luciano Vit Voet. Will he hang on? It's going to be next to nothing across the line. Vit Voet wins race 1 by 0.136 of a second ahead of Josh Millington. Rounding out the top 3, welcome to the podium for the first time this season. Second time this season. He picked up a second in race 1 of round 1. Jamie Nuttall in the number 14 for Cracked Racing. Kieran Sharp still in some way, shape or form will be feeling pretty happy that he got 4th in that one. Then we had Tom Davidson in 5th. Bobby Moss, Matt Acton made up 3 places from 10th on the grid to finish 7th. Ahead of Andrew Pike, Jack Southfield and Bradley Horsnell rounded out the top 10. Guillaume Hamling, Johnny Wu, David Long, Fabian Biervert. And we've got the likes of Thomas Martin, David Barnes, Gareth Ronda, Cody Cosford, Fred Coleman-Evans, Matt Smith, and bringing up the rear of the field, a lap down, Stefan Hutter. But that is race 1. A lot of good exchanges there, Dean. I mean, the driving standards were something that was a point that was raised in the first week of the season at Oulton Park, but everything seems to now at this point show that the drivers are getting into their stride and really starting to get the best out of the cars, especially at such a tight and technical circuit here at Okayama for round 3.
Oh, really good wheel-to-wheel racing, actually, considering it's many, many times I thought, okay, this is it. Somebody's going around. There's going to be contact. But there wasn't. There's a scrutineering garage that you can see currently on the screen. Now, guys, you didn't get your cars down there. Unfortunately, they've all been disqualified because no one of those drivers took their cars down to the garage to get it scrutineered. So, yeah, I'm sorry about that one there, Alex, but you know what it's like. You got to double check and make sure they're not doing any sneakiness with those vehicles, but I'm kidding, my friend. We'll show you those results, of course, from the heat. Everybody knows I'm only messing around.
I know that, mate. I know that. But there we go. Luciano Vitvoet picks up a maximum score of 65 points, with Millington and Nuttall rounding at the top 3. Sharp, Davidson, Moss, Acton, Pike, Southfield, Horsnell round at your top 10, covered by 18.7 seconds after that exciting 11-lap race. And everyone will score points, which puts it towards their championship tally. Of course, the people who have entered this season have also done that through the platform known as SimGrid, run by Vid Prell, a South African real-life racer that has competed on the biggest stage of them all when it comes to sports cars. The 24 Hours of Le Mans has also raced in European Le Mans Series, so really good to see that SimGrid being a platform that TSRC always uses. Of course, if you do want to join the Discord and get yourselves involved with any of the racing, or maybe you just want to have a little bit of banter, you can see tsrc.club/Discord. Also, any respective links you need for the Sim Racing Collective, it is down in the description below. We have got the warm-up underway. Dean.
So,
second race, 25 minutes. Grid's decided by race 1. There's going to be a little bit of different strategy. Of course, they've got to not try and over-exercise the tyres, more to the point, but also, again, when you're out there for a lot longer in the race, you could also find the fact that physical and mental exertion will possibly lead to unforced errors, and you don't want any unforced errors here at Okayama.
And if you are, like we saw with that fantastic racing with a bunch of those drivers that were just going wheel to wheel, that's even more extra concentration, isn't it? And got to remember, they are using fixed setups, so everybody is practically very, very equal with the machines, according to the iRace tracks setups, of course, for this.
Yeah.
So that concentration, you've got a couple of incident warnings, of course, but you do have a fast repair. But honestly, at this point where everybody is on the track there, you know, you go in and out, you're going to be running at the back of the field there, even for a 25-minute race, as you'd mentioned. But concentration, absolutely going to be through the roof. And that's what separates the great drivers from the even greater drivers.
100% agree with you there, buddy. But we are over halfway through the warm-up. Of course, there is plenty of action that for those watching on the JP Broadcasting Network. Still to come this week. We'll talk you through some of the racing that will be happening later on. Because we've got the weekend coming up. Of course, folks, it is Friday night. It's F4 night. And we do love a bit of single-seater action. And if that race hasn't whetted your appetite, of course, the one that's coming up is going to be just as intense, to be completely truthful. But there you see the part of the circuit, of course, based in the Mimisaka Prefecture, 266 meters above sea level. We are running on the full variation. Of course, it is a 10-minute open solo qualifying. We just had the 15-minute race. We've got the rest of the warm-up to be concluded very shortly. But for those wondering about the calendar for the TSRC F4 Sprint, next week we will have Lime Rock Park on the West Bend variation, followed by the full course of the iconic VIR, Virginia International Raceway, and then Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta will be the final race of the season. That will be the 16th of February, the 23rd of February, of course, 2024 being a 366-day calendar year because we have... Oh. Yeah, because we have...
Leap year.
Yes, it's a leap year.
Oh,
leap
it's also the year of the dragon, so woohoo to me.
Well, there you go. So literally, Road Atlanta would have been... would have been probably the 2nd of March, had it not been for the fact that we have a leap year, ladies and gentlemen.
So if you were born, obviously, on, the 26th of February, right? Is it?
One of my good friends, she was actually born on the 29th of February.
Yeah, there it is. Not the 26th, of course, the 29th. Yeah, and then so... I mean, obviously that's skipper, but legally you can say how many, 4 years old or 5 years old or whatever like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. So here's the grid for race 2 of round 3 of the TSRC F4 Sprint season. Luciano Vitvoet will be on the front row alongside Millington, with Nuttall and Sharp row 2, Davidson and Moss row 3, Acton and Pike row 4, Southfield, Horsnell, Hamling, Wu, Long, Beervert, Martin, rounding out the top 15 with the likes of David Barnes, Gareth Ronda, Cody Cosford, Fred Coleman-Evans, Matt Smith and Stefan Hutter completing the entire grid. So the lights are going to be showing up, and I think we are underway. Yes, we are indeed, as Millington gets the lead off of Vitvoet early doors. Great job there by the number 86. And Vitvoet coming under fire from Jamie Nuttall, as they will make their way very shortly through Williams. And to the Moss S's, kicking up the dirt does Millington with the right side tyres. And it's a 5-car train at the front end of the field. Bobby Moss is leading the second train. Matt Acton has just lost out to Pike. Cody Cosford again, second incident in a row. And Thomas Martin has also been caught up in the crossfire. And they are back down. And Thomas Martin has got no rear wing on the Camel Honda Lotus tribute band from the... I've seen... Oh, dear.
I saw somebody up in the air.
Guillaume Hamling off. Johnny Wu down 7 places as well. It's again, it's the old adage, isn't it? And even the 44 has been off Matt Smith. But yeah, I mean, Millington took exactly the move he needed to do, which was up the inside through first corner on Luciano Vitvoet, who pretty much was unable to retaliate, so to speak.
We'll have a look at the replay at the start of the race so you can actually see exactly what happened on that one. So here's Josh's launch. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Getting it done. That's why I like standing still starts, really, at the end of the day. I know that it's very dangerous sometimes. You have a big grid there, and there is it. Bingo, get the job done. So in the inside line there is actually probably even a better place to start around this track, and we've got 4 drivers in the pit road, no doubt getting those damage done there with their fast repair. And get it done early, of course, my friend, because you still have a lot of time up your sleeve to get going racing again.
Yep, so Hamling, Wu, Cosford and Martin in pit road. And now this is becoming a straight-up dogfight at the front end, with Nuttall breathing down the exhaust pipes of Vitvoet as they will now go. This is off at the back straightaway into Hairpin and then into the double left at Revolver and Piper. A little bit of a downhill slope going through Revolver and into Piper. again, that's a double left-hander that is not to be trifled with, Dean, because you make one wrong move, you run wide coming out of Revolver, that, the car's going to be on the grass, it's probably going to spin the back end round, and you'll be spat out backwards into the barriers off the exit of Piper.
Yeah, that's right, Alex. That's why they add S's to, well, all modern tracks and stuff like that they do make, of course. It's because of the fact that you've got to get your entrance to the S's correctly, otherwise you've just messed it. It's like Beckett's Max Chapel and all that sort of stuff as well too, my friend. Like, you've got to get that perfect, because if you don't, and I used to do it on the Formula 1 game as well too, like, you just mess the rest of it. You've just killed so much time. But here's Luciano again wanting this one, and I think Josh was just, this is a revenge, isn't it, from race 1, because he's like, if I could not get past you, my friend, so why not do it at the start of the race? Is exactly what he did.
Yeah, that was his way of saying, I've just one-upped you, buddy. And he's done exactly the right thing. But Voigt is within 0.2 of a second now, so the toe down the back straightaway heading into hairpin corner is absolutely mighty, as Voigt looking for the crossover attempt, as Bobby Moss loses a position to Jack Southfield, who's up 3 places from 9th to 6th, and I would imagine that Southfield will be joining the train. There's a little bit of dust kicked up by the left front of Luciano Voigt. So now
Southfield's up 3 as well too. Just try to cut you off on that one, because yeah, you look at that. So man on the mission on this track at this point, but you got to get to Barney at the end.
Yeah, Luciano Voigt, new fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 28.468. So he's got a very, very good opportunity, has Southfield, to try and put the cat amongst the proverbial pigeons. We're right on board again with the Flying Dutchman, Luciano Voigt. So as Kieran Sharp puts in another fastest lap of the race, and straight away, who's over a tenth and a bit quicker? Jack Southfield in the number 98. So we now have 4 different winners. Oh, mistake there from Millington. This could give Voigt the opportunity he needs through the Moss S's, as they're going to head into the Atwood curve, and that has opened the door for Jamie Nuttall, who's wheel to wheel. Oh my goodness me, this is like Senna and Mansell back in 1991. Heavens to Betsy. Now they're coming down the start-finish straight. If Jamie Nuttall chances it to the inside, no, he's just hit the back end of Millington, and that's given him a bit of an assist. But Voigt's going to retake the lead through into the next left-hander at Revolver. So the Flying Dutchman back to the front end of the field. Millington down to 2nd, Nuttall 3rd, Sharp 4th, Davidson, and now add Southfield again. He was closing quite significantly, and there he is, waiting. He's got the ringside seat, has the number 98, and we still have, I can't believe I'm saying this, the best part of just 19 minutes and change left to go, but Voigt will lead the way. There's Fred Coleman-Evans.
Yeah, he had a moment actually.
Did he?
This one. Yes, I think this is a self-spin. He's got probably into the 8, but yeah, you can see a little snap of the oversteer there. And he may have got a little dirt on the red at the time, as he's lost a place, I believe, or so. Go back to that action, of course. As David Barnes that got past and stuff like that. There they are. But you called it, my friend. This is going to be definitely spicy and dicey between this one, because you know Josh wants his back. He's like, I cannot sit on the back of the 60 machine for one more race. I've had enough, and I want it back. But it's because Josh had to go off the racing. We're going to replay that one a little bit, but he had to go off the racing line, and he couldn't get that braking point right, could he? So he outbraked himself. Actually, no, was that Jamie did that wrong. Anyway, we'll have a look at him in the replay. We'll find out about that one. This is a gaggle of cars right now at the moment because of that battle itself there, Alex. It's causing everybody to bunch up.
Yeah, Kieran Sharp was briefly looking up the inside of Jamie Nuttall for P3 as Tom Davidson has just lost out to Jack Southfield. So there we go, and now joining the fray will be Bobby Moss and Matt Acton. That means, folks, we have an 8-car train for the race lead, but Voigt has pulled out a 0.4 of a second advantage over Josh Millington. Jamie Nuttall 3rd, Kieran Sharp 4th, Jack Southfield, Tom Davidson, Bobby Moss and Matt Acton, all covered by 2.8 seconds. As they head out of the final corner, can there be an opportunity of a slipstream, a draft for Millington down the main start-finish straight? Well, the gap between him and Vit Voet is around about just over 3.5 tenths of a second as they head into first corner, and then they carry the momentum through, sweep wide to the right-hand side before the approach into Williams. Now, this is a slow-mo replay of what happened just a moment ago. Millington took the curb after managing to get past Luciano Vit Voet, who is towards the outside of Jamie Nuttall in the number.
You watch his off the racing line, right? And see the braking. See how he brakes a lot early because he has to.
Yeah.
And it catches Jamie off completely, actually, on that one. And that allows, of course, the Flying Dutchman to scoot on by and take the lead.
Yeah, just gave Luciano Vit Voet all the impetus and the opportunity at the same time.
Did you think he went too defensive by going off that racing line, so therefore compromised his entry into the corner there and could not judge it too much? Because you've got to remember too, as a racing driver, how often do you really, really practice and rehearse your different braking points when you're off the racing line?
Well, I think the main thing was that Millington had to compensate for taking a tighter approach because he knew that Voet would go to the outside, and sometimes if you try and block somebody off when they're there, he was just trying to anticipate the switchback, which in all effectiveness then happened a corner later after hairpin, and because of the fact that Millington was a bit too direct in terms of heading towards the apex, your braking markers effectively go out the window. You've got to overcompensate, and he more than overcompensated. He locked up, and then Vit Voet was able to get him on the next corner as Matt Acton going wheel to wheel with Bobby Moss through into Atwood. Bobby Moss nearly had the run. Well, he's looking to the inside now. He might get the side draft on Matt Acton down the back stretch, and he's starting to nose ahead. He is now ahead by about
zero, I'd say.
nothing. Absolutely nothing.
I was going to say, this would be fantastic. Lock up. This would be fantastic, wouldn't it, if Matt actually had like a Jordan livery on that one, wouldn't it? Because then you'd have Jordan versus Williams. So that'd be like a classic, considering all these drivers. And then, of course, is that the McLaren in the background as well, too. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? You're not watching Formula One. Oh, he's gone too deep, and it's good holding on to that one. Wow, I thought he'd definitely cooked it because he got those dirt on the tires. But yeah, you'd be going back to your into your 80s and 90s of Formula One at this point.
Yeah, we do have a car that does have buzzing hornets on there. That's not on the. Oh, Fabian Bivert's gone very, very wide out of the final corner, and that's a whole heap of time to Matt Acton. The gap between them is nearly 3/4 of a second. I'm trying to remember who the driver is that actually has the Jordan buzzing hornets livery. But again, still, this battle here, this is like a battle royale. You don't know who's going to swing the first haymaker, and at the moment, Jamie Nuttall is really trying to put the pressure on Josh Millington. I think he went a little bit deep on the brakes there, through into Atwood. Nuttall's going to get the run on him in the number 14 crack racing machine. Vit Voet pulls the left-hand side of the straightaway. Nuttall now on bump drafting Millington. Looks to the outside, into hairpin. And let's see. Gets nice and tight on the apex. Applies the power when at the right point at the right time. And through into Revolver and Piper. They've just exited out of the left. Through on up the short chute here to Redmond. We still have, well, ladies and gentlemen, it's gone by so quickly. We are nearly a minute away from hitting the half time. That's how quickly this race has gone.
Yeah, ding ding. We'll have half time, so while the drivers pull in there at the moment, they'll get back into their garages there. They'll have a bit of they won't, of course. Like obviously at half time in football, get a little bit of a drink, get a bit of a stretch, get back out there. No, you've got to be sitting in your rig for the remaining of this time as they're going to continue to fight it out. And this is when I think you talk about this at the top of the second part of the show where endurance is going to come into play, isn't it? Because you're getting sweaty in your rig, it's hot, you're concentrating through the roof there. You want to gain in positions, you can't afford it. You've got a blinking a bit there from Josh. I think that's probably what's been letting Josh down here this evening as well. Every once in a while, that little blink throws, he doesn't see a blink, but everybody else around him does.
Yeah, true. And it just goes to show that sometimes even something like that can be classed as a minor distraction, but can put you off on what you know, how you were approaching the race. Now Jamie Nuttall is looking to go more than one better. I think he's gunning for the W, as I said earlier on. At Alton Park in race 1, he was second. Oh, Nuttall ran wide there. That's not what you want to do. Coming out of Piper, and then on the short shoot up to Redmond. Over the crest they go once again. Kieran Sharp is looking rather menacing. So is Jack Southfield in the number 98. So the top 5 covered by 1.5 seconds as the top 4, including Kieran Sharp, and now we go on board with Jack Southfield. That's your top 5, and across the line they are covered by 1.6 seconds as we head into double digits once again for lap 10.
Yeah, because Jack was slicing through the field. He's 4 positions gained at the moment, so he's one of the most performing drivers, apart from Fabian as well, too, on P9. He's gained 5, but Jack's up here battling it out with this quick squad, as you mentioned, for the top 5. But as soon as he caught the back of Kieran Sharp, he's kind of really slowed down a little bit there. So I wonder if he's just chewed through too much of his tyres to catch everybody here, or is he just playing a little bit more of the longer game and saying, I'm foreseeing somebody's coming together soon and I'll snatch those positions back. Thank you.
Yes, it'll be like taking candy off of a baby, as we are on, as Vit Voigt goes defensive. That was neatly done there by the number 60, Millington. There's got to be some frustration starting to seep in with the number 86 as Nuttall being honed in on by Sharp and Southfield, and again another slight mistake from Nuttall. This could give Sharp and Southfield the opportunity they've been waiting for, because the minute you kick up the dust, you are dirtying your tyres. That does not help with the optimization of the grip on the 4 contact patches. Bit of a run wide there from Kieran Sharp through the penultimate corner at through Mike Knight corner as they come out of the final turn. That is lap 10 in the books, and still Vit Voigt is holding on to the rope by a finger thread.
And Josh wants it back big time, remember, because Josh got him on the first lap of the race, of course, on the grid. And then one little mistake that you saw what happened with Josh, and then he doesn't want to be frustratingly again behind the Flying Dutchman for another race. He's going to want this one. It's just a battle between these two for sure. Look at them. But I guarantee you said it right there as well too, Alex. If any of them slip up at the moment, you know Jamie's going to slip on by there. That poor driver at the moment, that's in 19th place, that's Gareth. It's just going to be like, I'm getting out of here. I don't want to be a part of this one because this is going to be messy if you're here.
Messy, I think, is probably going to be very messy. I think we need to add the word very.
Oh, and he had a spin!
The car in front has just gone off. And that was Gareth Ronda, I believe. And look how close Millington was. Now he's going to possibly have a run towards the inside. Jamie Nuttall trying to make it 3 wide into the left-hander. That's a great move from Millington, but it's going to put him on the outside. Through into Hobbs. Now the run to Mike Knight. Kieran Sharp looking to the outside of Jamie Nuttall. Through into the penultimate corner again as Southfield was sticking his front wing up the inside of Kieran Sharp. Through into the final corner, and Millington now has got the opportunity. He's going to pull to the outside of Luciano. Vit Voigt into first corner as we start lap 12 with 16.5 minutes out of 25 completed. And again, Millington's got to be very, very careful how he composes himself right now, because I always like to say this, there is sometimes a sense of desperation, but with Josh Millington, there is a big sense of urgent. Oh, dearie me, Jamie Nuttall getting very, very aggressive there, looking to the outside of both Millington and Voigt. Loses out to Kieran Sharp, who wants a 3rd win of the season. And if Voigt and Millington come to blows, Kieran Sharp will be at the head of the field. He might have a look up the inside through into the hairpin there, but Sharp had to wait for it. Southfield and Nuttall wheel to wheel through Piper. That's sprayed by the pair of them, and Southfield has nosed ahead of Nuttall, but Nuttall's got the inside line for the next left-hander.
This is absolutely fantastic racing, isn't it? Because Nuttall's now dropping a
crazy.
couple of places. You remember he was leading a couple of laps ago. Well, quite a handful. And then now he's dropping down at the moment in the clutches of Jack. It's still Josh is putting the pressure on the Flying Dutchman. Kieran Sharp, the boss man and the man leading the championship, is hunting them down at the moment. This is going to be fantastic. And it's good. It's been absolutely amazing wheel-to-wheel racing. And all these times you think that somebody's going around. But guess what? They haven't, Alex. This is just amazing. This is grand opportunity. This is why you want to sign up at the moment for the TSRC.
Yep, this is single-seater competition at its finest as Millington through the Moss S's keeps it pinned towards the outside, and Witt briefly lost the lead for a second, but Kieran Sharp thinks that there's an opportunity of a move up the inside through out of Atwood. And he's going to be on the inside line, but Millington chops his nose off very, very quickly indeed. Southfield is now latched onto the back. He might get the inside run as Sharp goes high and wide through into the hairpin. Now down into the next left-hander here at Revolver through Piper. Sharp still keeps ahead of Southfield, but Nuttall and Davidson are the duo behind them. This is going to be absolutely crucial, the next couple of laps. Who might make the accidental unforced error that causes everything for a couple of drivers to go very, very south, and that's Nuttall off the circuit. Nuttall off the circuit goes down to 6th position as the number 42 of Tom Davidson now rounds out the top 5. 13 laps completed, onto 14 we go. Witt leads from Millington, Sharp, Southfield, Davidson, Nuttall, Moss, Beaver, Long and Pike. That is your top 10, as now Southfield is getting very, very racy in the 42. He's trying to go toe-to-toe with Southfield, but Nuttall decided to do a bit of a dive bomb. It didn't quite work out for the number 14, as Andrew Pike gets past David Long for 9th. There we go again. Oh, Nuttall went
You won't make it
deep,
stick. You won't
and he's
make it stick.
spin.
Yeah.
Oh,
No way.
Nuttall has thrown away a podium at the very least. Thrown away a podium on that one. Went too deep into the corner, over-rotated under steering, and the back end went right. You're going for a spin. Here's Bradley Horsnell and Matt Acton. They're now battling over 11th. Jamie Nuttall got away with that one. He's dropped to 7th. That could have been a lot worse for the number 14 from Crack Racing.
Well, it could have been a lot worse for the other cars too if he did manage to collide with them. So, you know, it was his... I don't know if that was a bit of frustration creeping in, wasn't it? Because you got to remember, he was right up at the top. And then he started dropping a couple of places with these other drivers coming through. And maybe that is that endurance, patience and stuff like that that you'd mentioned, because that seemed like it was a bit of a desperation dive there, which you could probably hold on for another lap or two. Or that one, but I don't know. I'm not a racing driver like these champions are. They know exactly. It's a lot different when you're in that cockpit, isn't it? You're fighting and you're frustrated sometimes, and you're doing your absolute best. And maybe he was a little bit disappointed because he's dropped 4 places now, and he knew he had the pace with these Top Guns. He does have the pace with Top Guns. Unfortunately, he's just not in the positions. Kieran Sharp, I have to give it to Jack Bar. Jack has been... I can't... And to taking another position or so gained is not easy work. 5 positions gained now for the 98 machine. And slowly but surely he is been gripping them in. But at the moment, here it is. Does Josh want this one back or not?
Oh, Witt had to respond quickly to Millington's offence there as they go through into hairpin, now into Revolver, down the hill, into the left-hander here at Piper before the short shoot up to Redmond. Then they go back through a left-hand hairpin that brings them up the hill into Hobbs, then Mike Knight, and then they'll have another corner to negotiate. Coming up to 3 minutes on the timer. We are about to complete our 15th lap of this race. So we're going to see how close they are running to the timer in terms of laps. I think, well, 1 minute 28.
No, Barney. No white flag there. So another 2.
I would say we will. Yes, I would agree. I think we're going to get the white flag next time round. To be honest with you, they're running. The leaders are running on probably anywhere between 128.2 to 128.4. But Millington now has to absolutely maximise his offensive against Luciano Vitvoet, and through Atwood, he's getting closer and closer still. Now the closing speed starts to come into play. Vitvoet pulls to the right. Millington looks now to the left as they're going to head into the braking zone. Kieran Sharp is there or thereabouts, waiting to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, I was going to say, Alex, this was like almost a carbon copy, wasn't it? What Joshua did to defend, but Josh locked up a little bit there and had to back off, and that's what Luciano did. A little bit better, wasn't it? He somehow he knew he's going to lose that exit speed into the apex, but then he completely blocked at that point, isn't it? And there's no way for Josh to go.
Yeah, and Millington nearly opened the door for Kieran Sharp. So we are going to go on to our last lap of this race, because we have just hit 23 minutes and 40 seconds elapsed. That's a minute and 20 to go, so white flag will be at this time. And we're on to our 17th and final lap. You see the lap times there, 1 minute 28.371 for Vitvoet. Millington a tenth slower, but Kieran Sharp 2/10 slower than the current race leader. This could be do or die for the number 23. He wants to get 2 wins, but if Vitvoet picks up a victory, a second victory in a row tonight here at Okayama, he will become a 2-time winner. Kieran Sharp wants to get 3 and not give the opportunity for someone else to equal his win ratio this season. Now into hairpin for the final time they go. Down into the left at Revolver. They'll descend further into the middle part of the circuit through Piper. Now it's the run towards Redmond. This could be very, very crucial on how Millington starts to attack. And now he's doing it. He went a little bit wider to carry the momentum through. Now into Hobbs. Mike Knight corner coming up now. Millington is with Vitvoet. Vitvoet keeping it pinned on the racing line. Millington might get the slingshot out of the final corner. We are going to get the checkered. Who's going to win it? Is it going to be 2 in a row for Vitvoet? It looks like the Dutchman is going to fly to the finish, and he hangs on and gets the double by 7 100ths of a second, 0.73. Between first and second, Luciano Vitvoet comes back to the TSRC F4 sprint season here at Okayama and does exactly what Kieran Sharp did 2 weeks ago at the season opener at Alton Park. You know what that says to me, folks? It's game on for the championship, and we are officially at the halfway point. We are still waiting for some of the runners and riders. Some drivers have had a bit more fortune than others, but you know what? That battle between Vitvoet and Millington was absolutely epic, and the Flying Dutchman has definitely deserved the accolade of what he's achieved tonight.
He's had to hold on twice now, hasn't he, under the massive attack there from Josh? So that's what it's pressure. That's your pressure cooker. I think you mentioned it as well, didn't it, at the start? Can the drivers handle the pressure for 25 minutes in the second race? You had to handle it for the first heat, and now you have to do it for the second. We'll get those results for you in just a minute while the rest of the field make their way back around to the scrutineering office so that they can check those cars. I wish they could. Thanks there, Pavel. Nice commentary, of course, because you had the legend himself, Mr. Alex, who's actually in Belgium at the moment, doing some real race commentary again, aren't you, my friend?
I am indeed. Yeah. I'm at the home of champions karting gate, where a certain 3-time Formula 1 world champion who's defending his title again, Max Verstappen, started his karting career. So 2 for 2 for World of Racing's Luciano Vitvoet here at Okayama, with Josh Millington and Kieran Sharp rounding out the top 3. Jack Southfield in 4th. Tom Davidson rounding out the top 5, covered by 3.2 seconds at the end of all of that. Pretty close indeed, if I don't say so myself. Bobby Moss in 6th ahead of Jamie Nuttall, Fabian Bierver, Andrew Pike, and David Long round out the top 10. Bradley Horsnell, Matt Acton, Stefan Hutter, who was the biggest mover in that race, made up 8 positions from 21st on the grid to finish 13th. Head of Fred Evans with Guillaume Hamling completing the top 15. Hamling having his own share of dramas. So did Johnny Wu over the course of tonight's proceedings, with Matt Smith finishing 17th in the number 44. Gareth Ronda and David Barnes rounded out the top. Well, they rounded out the next couple of positions and ended up a lap down. Then you had then you also had Thomas Martin, who retired with 8 laps to go. Cody Cosford, unfortunately, not a good one for the number 54 for World of Racing. He did not make it past lap number 2. But you know what? I'm going to head over to the interview room. I know you're going to be joining me, Dean, because we've got some drivers to interview.
Absolutely. Let's head over there right now. We have a copy there, Alex. I think we get Alex at the moment. Alex, hey, over to you, my friend, who can conduct those interviews, of course. And I think first of all, we have the boss man.
Yes, Mr. Sharp. Good evening.
Good evening.
How are we doing?
Yeah, all good. That was a tough combo, really hard to overtake, and yeah, it wasn't as quick as compared to Josh or Luciano, or fortunately Jamie Nuttall as well. He had some really good pace at points as well. So yeah, that was interesting.
I mean, Luciano has equalled your feat. 2 race wins in the same night. Of course, we have got Jack and we have got Josh. They picked up a win apiece. But you said to me and Dean before we went live tonight, I don't know if I'm not sure, but I might not be holding on to that championship lead. You were in the mix there for that 3rd win, because Josh and Luciano were battling like the 2 kids battling over the last swing of the playground, if I'm completely honest here. But from your perspective, what were your thoughts when you were behind them and sort of like thinking, I just hope that, the first thing that you don't want to do is wish bad luck or bad karma on your opponents. You're just like thinking, this is just getting a bit too close for comfort. I need to just sort of occasionally hold back and hold my line.
Yeah, it was not necessarily that. It was also checking behind, because as they're racing, I think mainly into the hairpin and through like the chicanes, they're holding each other up, and they're probably the best overtaking opportunities here. So if I get checked up and I have to take different line all of a sudden, I could open up the door for someone else behind. So it's very much just trying to follow as closely as I can, while keep my distance and keeping things moving, because yeah, the moment, I think we only had like a couple of moments in race 2 really where, like I think the lead could have been shaken up and whatnot. Yeah, it was really tough to overtake, and Luciano put on some mega defensive moves to Josh.
Yeah. Now we head to another circuit. We go to Lime Rock Park next week. How do you fancy your chances there, mate?
I think it's going to be another one where you've got to just keep your nose clean. It's a pretty fast track. It's a short track as well, and the slipstreaming will certainly play a factor there. However, we're not using the GP uphill chicane. It's the uphill one that should create some, some bolder moves and things like that to get some overtaking done. But yeah, it's going to be just as interesting.
Brilliant. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Just everyone turning up and giving it their best. There's varied abilities here, and I think a lot of people. I think there was someone debated if they should turn up tonight or not, and we were like, give it your best shot, turn up, see how it goes, and turns out they really enjoyed it. So yeah, everyone that gives it the best makes it to the end. Yeah, it's really good to see.
Brilliant. Kieran, thanks so much for joining us, and well done tonight. And we'll see you in a week's time next Friday on the 16th for Lime Rock Park at the West Bend Complex.
Yeah, see you later.
Okay, well, Cody Cosford joins us as well. Cody, again, it's been a difficult evening, buddy, especially with what happened between you and Stefan. Just talk us through your evening, mate.
Yeah, well, again, I've got a race tomorrow, so didn't practice much, but really liked how the car felt at this track. The downforce and stuff was really nice to drive. Race 1, really nice battles. I've been to quali, but had some really nice battles coming through the field, and then unfortunately, can't remember who it was, but someone just spun in front of me on turn 1, and the game kind of glitched a bit, and my car ended up inside theirs, and it just destroyed the car. So I just kind of limped to the line. And then race 2, I'm not sure if you saw on the official stream, but my rear wheel, I just understeered a little bit on the cold tires, and my rear wheel just touched someone else's front wheel by no more than a centimeter, and it just threw me into the air, and it just broke the car. So it wasn't a great evening, unfortunately. But the battles were quite good.
Yeah. I mean, as you said, sometimes with not having the opportunity to practice significantly, that can put you at a detriment, but it doesn't stop you for, no matter what happens, for enjoying the series.
Yeah, definitely. It's always good battles in this series. After round 1, I think the driving standards have improved and the racing is a lot better.
How you fancy? Are you gonna now? Be honest with me, Cody. Are you gonna have an opportunity to practice Lime Rock Park ahead of next week?
I'll be perfectly honest with you. I'm driving in Brands Hatch in real life on the Saturday, so I'm not going to be here next week. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's a shame, buddy. Well,
It is my favourite track on the calendar, though, so I'm gutted.
Well, okay, right. Now, for those wondering, Cody has got a very distinct Scottish accent. But where do you live, buddy? Because you said Brands Hatch. Are you local to there, where you live?
No, it's on the opposite end of the country. I'm in between Aberdeen and Dundee in Scotland, and Brands Hatch is right beside London, so I'm flying there because it's way too far to drive.
That's, you know what? That's the bet. Yeah, I mean, what was it? I think there was an opportunity for me to go to Knockhill at one point. It said, "Yeah, coming up," and I was like, my dad went, "You're not going to drive there." I went, no, I can get a national flight up there, not a problem at all, and it's a hell of a lot cheaper both ways. So
I know, you can fly from Edinburgh to Luton for about £18 if you book a month in advance now. It's a lot cheaper.
anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go, and so you can enjoy your wonderful opportunity to race at Brands Hatch next weekend, mate?
Definitely Luciano. He was feeling really sick today, and he still got the double win, and it was a really good battle, him defending and everything. So just a big shout out to him. And
last but by no means least, I take it we're going to see you back at VIR on the 23rd. Is that right?
Yeah, we'll see me then.
Well, Cody, thanks for jumping in and having a chat. Good luck at Brands Hatch next weekend, and have a good rest of the weekend as well.
Thank you. Take care.
Well, Dean, good to hear from Kieran, and also poor Cody, who's just been unfortunately involved in incidents that weren't of his making. Altogether, a pretty nice way to round off the halfway point of this TSRC F4 sprint season.
Yes, you're absolutely correct. At the moment, you win some, you lose some. That's just the way it goes. But he's going to be enjoying, obviously, some real racing. And upcoming soon. But Flying Dutchman does it again, doesn't he? And gets the job done over Josh, who got him off the line at the start there. But that one little tiny mistake there, trying to defend, of course, the action-packed duo at the back there of Jamie. Remember, Jamie Nuttall ended up finishing at P7 there. And then Kieran Sharp, of course, is another opportunity to try to maintain more of those points that he needs. And he's just holding on to that championship.
Indeed. Well, that really wraps up things here on the live broadcast of round 3 of the TSRC.
Yep. Lost you there, my friend.
Sprint Cup.
Yep,
season.
Lost you there for a second there, Alex. Sorry.
Oh,
go ahead.
Am I back?
Yes, you are. You're back.
Oh, good stuff. well, at the moment, you can still watch the rest of the JPB TCR Euro Sprint Cup Season 3 Round 6 from the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit. We've got iFormula League Super Formula on Saturday at 5:15 p.m. from COTA. Then also the Gamer Gear Direct Australian GT3 Championship Season 3 Round 1 at Mugello gets underway at 8:55 in the morning on Sunday, and then iFormula League F3 Series at COTA Round 4 that evening, followed by everyone's favourite IGP Fun Formula 3 Season 1 2023-2024 Round 7 at Sebring International Raceway. He's been Dean Biggles. My name's Alex Goldschmidt, and as I always like to say, if in doubt, flat out, we'll see you next time. Good night.